Yo, how you doing? Running a little late, as usual, as per usual. I'm looking for the thing I was working on before I had to leave the house to go drop something off. There it is. Howdy, Mark. Howdy, Gee. How you doing? Everyone hanging out all right? Doing fine? Let me load this. My university just sent me a software update, so Excel all looks all weird and stuff. But anyway, I've been working on something, and I'm trying to pull it back up. I had to reload everything. So, what do you want to talk about? Because I was planning to talk about NFL stuff, but, I don't know if anyone's going to let me get away with that. Ooh, look at all this fancy new stuff. Look, I can get data now, apparently. Neat. I don't know what I'm going to do for Excel and Word and everything when that new desktop arrives. I'll figure it out. Anyway, so what I was doing is I created a sample size for wide receiver, running back, quarterback, everyone. And I was testing R squared numbers, thinking about dropping that table in the, this table in the NFL database for Patreons. Just looking at how predictive it is year to year end or the next year since 2009. For expected points and points per game, and then looking how well it predicts itself. So, target share for quarterbacks predicts itself 0.45, apparently. And predicts, it's actually the words explain is more accurate. But give me a break. I'm not a real nerd. Wow, look at these fancy new layouts. Nice. I don't know why they would bother doing that, but there you go. Oh, now everything's weird. Formatting. Yeah, clear all. Right. Okay. Everything's in a new place. Anyway, how you doing? Glad you're doing swell, Mark. Appreciate it. Guy, good. Just finished. What is this? Just finished listening to the pod. I like that you like Tylen Wallace. Cool. Good to know, man. You're the first person. You're the person who's mentioned his name. As far as I know, I haven't really been paying attention to rookie stuff, and that was just an initial look. But yeah. I just need to finish up 2019 before I have all the weekly attempts dated back to 2009, if you're interested. I think I got them. But yeah, sure. Send them my way. Weekly attempts. Oh, you're doing the weekly stuff. Cool. Neat. I'm not yet on weekly data. I'm kind of clean up my NFL database. I want to explain my NFL database, this one that's on the page right now, to Patreons and anyone else who wants to watch the YouTube video. I also want to do a video on my market share database. I also want to finish my market share database so I can get it out to everyone. And then I want to dig into rookies a little bit. And then I'll get to thinking about maybe finally finishing a weekly database. And I'll hit you up around then if that's all right. Did you use an average for the attempts? For what? For what? Hey, Peter and Spaceman. Hey, Crossover. Nice to see you coming in. Appreciate it. I tell you what, something I've been working on that I really want to get back to, you know, once I've sated the rookie fever going on right now. Not that. I'm trying to create a draft sheet. I was literally working on looking at making a strat tester. So in your draft, or in my draft, as the draft unfolds, this thing tracks players compared to ADP, which you can, you know, update, obviously, depending on what you're playing in and where you're playing and stuff like that. You'd have to put in new data here. And as the draft glows, it would tell you who's falling. Where would it tell you that? Yeah, in the ADP tab, it would highlight who's falling and stuff like that, just so you can keep track of it fairly easily. And show you, you know, what kind of positional value or draft value you're getting off them. But I was trying to create this strat tester where you could test, what if I draft a QB now? What if I draft a running back now? What on average would happen if I get that quarterback or running back's position rank right? And I was working on that just as Rookie Fever really came in full force. And I really want to get back to this, but it's going to take a while before I get there. So yeah, that's something I wanted to mention. Right now, this is the NFL database. It's behind a tiny Patreon paywall. It's got all data for all players going back to 2000, the same format as the 2020 database. And I was just building this R² tab. I think I'm just going to leave it static, just as a general idea of how well stats predict next year's performance for a player. Yeah, kind of working on that. It's a little bit of a bitch to do, actually, because I had to create a sample for every position, and then I'm testing it through those different tabs, so you couldn't just drag and drop. I had to manually write them all and stuff. Yeah, and again, maybe I should just... Yeah, that's what I'm going to do here. They're all okay. Yeah, there you go. I'm trying to create one of these that doesn't require like a lot of explanation, so someone can just look at it and go, "Oh yeah, I get what he's showing me there." Because a lot of stats, like especially when you do, you know, R² matrices, like no one knows what you're trying to show them. Like it's really confusing to read and understand. But here, you know, tells you how well each stat compares to points per game the following season for every position, and then expected points per game. And then you can see how well it predicts itself. You know, I think that's fairly straightforward. Explanatory, maybe? I don't know. Points per game still pretty much beats everything. Even expected points up here. Yep. Yards per team pass attempt per game. It's the next best one, which I really like for obvious reasons. I mean, it beats expected points per game sometimes, which is just pretty cool. Hey, Spaceman. Did you use an average for the attempts? I don't know what stat or what database or like. I use average attempts per game for team, and when I'm calculating yards per team pass attempt per game in past seasons. All the rookie wide receiver content. Hey, Edison. Yeah. What do you want to know? I know everything at this point, basically, obviously. No, I don't. I'm trying to hook up my combine data, and it was difficult, so I quit last night. Like, nah, my sheets kept crashing, and I was like, I'm just not into this right now. But yeah, rookie wide receivers. What do you want to know? You've got this, right? I sent all the nerds this link. I'm pretty sure. Something I'm doing, and it's actually inspired a little bit by Addison Hayes, who I like to think was inspired by me, because I've got this, what is it? This lookup chart. Where is it? It's not in this one. Okay. That looks at the average hit rate across 3 different production thresholds for 20%, 30% breakout ages, and then those adjusted by draft capital, and then the draft capital itself creating an average. I did a podcast on it recently. And I've actually inserted that into the tabs. I don't know if I'll keep the actual lookups like these things live. I might take them out just for simplicity, but you've got an average hit rate. And this is something, Addison, you showed me recently you were doing, or creating a better version of it, obviously. And I was like, well, I better put it in my database then. And so instead of it just being a separate tab, it's actually running it right now. Now, the problem is, especially if I take these out, like right now, obviously the 2021 class, their average is just dependent on their breakout ages, whereas past classes, obviously it's also based on their draft status. So it's a little bit of an uneven comparison, but and also I'm not exactly straight with the way I'm calculating hit rates right now, but it's all a work in progress. Well, let's say, and Rondell Moore is clearly getting an edge because he only played 1 season fully. Like I can't explain. That's the guy at the top here. And I think the best way I have of describing it is the fact that he has my best pre-draft score despite only having 1 season counted. Like, he's obviously getting an edge to it, but that first season was pretty amazing. I think right now I'm leaning having more of a chase, which I think is going to be a big conversation this year. But this is them ranked by their average hit rates based on their breakout ages. So it's more than Rashad Bateman. Team Rashad Bateman. Jalen Reed, apparently, who I'm assuming is a lower conference player no one else is going to like. But no, Big Ten, East, Michigan State. Is he a thing? Because he had good breakout ages. I don't know what to tell you. I really haven't dug into their other stats yet. And, you know, subject to change. Everything is subject to change with rookies right now. I haven't even heard what Zach Reed thinks, which is basically a must. But he played 2 years. He didn't play at age 18, but he had like a 34% dominator both years he played. I actually quite like Jalen Reed. Where did he play, though? He played, what did I say, the Big Ten? And something I want to include in here, I've started to put conference data in here, you see, like this is the average conference, or average yards per team attempt above conference. With wide receivers, by the way, especially rookie wide receivers, yards per team pass attempt seems to be better. I'm surprised, but I think I'm going to stick with yards per team pass attempt for wide receivers. Just it seems to work better in terms of overall results. But where was I looking? Yeah, I've got conference averages, but I want to start working on that a little bit more. Where's that picture I was talking about? I think I really want to try and at least be aware of conference averages when I'm doing prayer evaluations now, because I can't find an adjustment. I don't care what you guys say or how much data Matt Spencer throws at me to tell me everything's more predictive by conference. I'm not giving up on age, and I think age and conference are kind of exclusive. But where am I? Yeah. So where is he playing? Big Ten? Average dominator in the Big Ten, best year is like 39%. Average is 25%. So let's see. Jalen Reed, who again, I don't know if he's a thing, but yeah, he's kind of in the middle of the. His average dominator is higher, and his best dominator is lower than his conference average. So, like, I don't think there'd be a big conference adjustment to make for him there. I think he's actually produced pretty well. Now my pre-draft score doesn't like him too much, and that's largely based on yards per team and pass attempt. and dominator above average at the age that he played, but he missed a season. That might be partly why. But this 6.8 score is relatively low. 7's about good. Below that's starting to look bad. Anything above that is typically really good. So Bateman and Rondell Moore, Kylan Wallace, who I've mentioned, even Elijah Moore, Jamar Chase are definitely in the good category. And this Tamarion Terry, if Zach Reed's son could teach me how to say that name, it'd be great. Like, I'm really kind of interested in that, playing in the ACC. Where am I? AJ Brown and Cam Akers season. Let's go. Yeah, sure. It's a Corey Davis season, AJ Brown postseason. Actually, it looks like Marcus Brown postseason, but yeah, it's good to say AJ Brown get it back on top. So how do you calculate team attempts for players who don't even play every game? For what stat? Like, I don't know what we're talking about here. Like, I count the number of attempts a player has. Are you talking about my R-squared table over here? Because this is a lot simpler. Like, I've tried to stay very broad. It's just only if they have 30 touches or opportunities that season and the next season or more. And it's not on a per-game basis. More on Chase, your top two. It's looking like it. But that's going to be because I respect other people's opinions. And so I know those are the two people I'm mad for. Their production profiles are both great. Again, I haven't dug into them, but they look very good on the surface. Like Chase broke out at 19 at both thresholds. Moore did it at 18 at both thresholds. That's extremely good. It's extremely good. It does seem to be a feature of this class, though, as you can see right here. There's a lot of young breakouts. So, yeah. And I'm imagining the other thing that I'd like to sort by when I start digging in is I'm just going to look at their average yards per team pass attempt, if nothing else. How's that doing for him? Oh, he didn't play enough to get a score. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I'm imagining that both Moore and Chase are going to get draft capital more so. So I'm going to go with consensus there and push those to the top. But like Bateman and Tylan Wallace right now seem like 3 and 4, if I were to guess. And honestly, most of their production, not adjusting for conference, that's the one thing I haven't done yet, is going to look better. So like Moore is at the top of the production chart, but he only played one season. And Chase is below him, but I'd move Chase up just based on the fact that I know other people know more than me about who these players are. So oh yeah. So where's Chase? I mean, I love Rashad Bateman, but I like Tyler Johnson. So, you know, do with that what you will. Devontae Smith's profile isn't bad, guys. It's scoring a 7.8, which is actually pretty good. I'm so confused why everyone was so up in Henry Ruggs' junk. I mean, I know why, but I don't know. Like last year, I was literally saying, well, do you think Devontae Smith's any good? And everyone was like, no. And this year, like, he's actually not bad. I mean, he broke out a little later, but he passed 20% at age 20. He was very dominant when the both other two left, which is what you'd expect a good player to do. He didn't get Wally Pitt by a younger guy or nothing. Where was I? I was looking for Chase. Yeah. So let me reduce the volume on this music here because I can't hear myself think. All right. So Jamar and Chase are probably my top two, but in complete honesty, that's because I know everyone is talking about how good they are. So I'm borrowing a lot of knowledge there. But they're from smart people who I trust. So yeah, I would agree they're top two. But my way of looking at rookies initially is just to rate their production in their situation. And Chase is actually coming out like 6th overall in this class. But don't let that throw you. I'm not saying he's sixth in this class because I haven't looked at any of his other stats, and a lot of those matter. And it's not looking at the position he played in or his teammates or anything else. This is just trying to rate how productive he was in his situation. And 8.3, again, that's in a very good range. Like, good players score around that. So, yeah, I have no problem with that. Yeah. So I think they're going to be 1 and 2 for sure by consensus, before the draft at least. And I have no problem with that. But I will be arguing for players like Tylan Wallace and Rashad Bateman are probably going to come very soon after them in ranks. So that sounds like the tier that's more me, you know, because I don't know as much about these players. I don't watch them. I don't know about college. So these Moore and Chase are going to look like the best. And then I'm going to be like, but Bateman and Wallace got just as good profiles, even better in some ways. And that's probably going to be the way this class shakes out for me. But, yeah. And with Devontae Smith following that up in another tier. Those are my first impressions. Yeah, and also thoroughly impressed with the number of young players breaking out young in this class. Like, it's actually, let me see. I've got this little database count right now, so you can see how many players and players by position. And I'm actually interested in, you know, how many breakouts per class. Well, let's do the 20% threshold first, I guess. Hang on a second. I don't like new Excel. New Excel sucks. Just if anyone's looking at their update wondering if they should do it, I don't like it. Why is it taking so long to do things? Stop taking so long to do things. Okay, I'm closing my NFL database down because none of you all seem interested in that right now. I think this thing's freaking amazing. I think this is very interesting, but I'm going to close it down so I can get my sheets to work better. Spaceman, I want to get back to your question. I just honestly, I'm a little confused by the context of it. It's because I'm a moron. I know it's not you, it's me. Just give me a second to figure it out. Apparently, new Excel takes like 5 minutes to save a sheet. Okay, cool. Oh, look, you see the way it's breaking? I can't work like this. Addison, I'm hoping that I have bad luck with desktops, and just that's why I kind of threw it all to you guys. Like, I'm putting a lot of faith in you, dude, and I believe it will be well-founded faith. I'm just saying. I'm kind of excited. It's been a while since I had anything new, let alone something like that. Just tell me it can save a sheet in less than 5 minutes, and I'll be pretty ecstatic. All right, well, this does its thing. Let's look at Spaceman's question. So how did you calculate team attempts for players who don't even play a game? Did you just use don't play every game? You're talking about yards per team pass attempt, right? Just confirming. Peter's going to be a huge Jalen Waddle fan. Not really. Okay. Good to know. You already answered that question. Okay, cool. Yeah. Think so. No problem. I don't have a new PC. This is still my laptop, as you can see by the way it's struggling to. And it's I'm really proud of my laptop. It goes through a lot. It's pretty good for what it is. It's just not, as you can see, able to keep up very well with the type of pressure we're putting on it these days. It's just crashed. Let's just admit it, Excel. You couldn't keep up. We're crashing. Okay, give me a second here. We're opening up Task Manager, and we're crashing Excel manually. Like that's what we're doing. By Excel. Don't like new Excel. Don't like it. All right. Here it is. This is what I was working on for you all. For Josh Hansmeyer. He says he likes seeing me light up on stream. Apparently that's a big thing. Okay. All right. Yeah. Everything broke. Understood. Okay. Go away. Where was I? Here we are. 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. Count if S. Useful formula. If you're ever looking. Let's look at M's. Breakout ages at the 20% threshold per class. That's what I'm interested in. All right. Let's just do everyone. All right. Yeah, there's 13 players with an 18 breakout age at a 20% threshold in the... oh, no, that's 20. There's 8, which is... Yeah, it's the highest it's been. The next closest was 2006 was 6. 2017 had 7. 2020 had 5. 2014 had 7. Like, it's not a lot, but it's significant. And if you take out, there's like 19 players below the age of 20 breaking out total. Actually, a little low. What's the percentage look like? There seems to be a lot of young production going on, which is nice. It's very cool for me. Someone who likes that kind of thing. Oh. Let's just turn them into values. There we go. Got it. Let's do this quickly. So this won't be accurate, but it'll be a pretty good overview. All right, 21% of the players in this class that I have so far are coming from age 18 breakouts. 28% age 19 breakouts. It's just exceptionally high at age 18. That's a 20% threshold, though. Yeah, I'm not wrong. Well, I'm wrong a lot, but yeah, there's a lot of age 18 breakouts per capita. Who are the 8? Okay, sorry. Yeah, I was talking about them on my podcast, but I forget you guys don't listen all the time. Let me see. Let's just go to 2021 class. And again, it's not everything, but it's one of the first things I look at. Rondell Moore, Chatarius Atwell, apparently. Rashad Bateman, who I knew about already. Justin Ross. Keelan Stokes, Jalen Reed, Amar Ra St. Brown. Cool. McLean Mannix. And just, it's significant and it's interesting. Right now, keep it in the interesting range instead of, all the signal you need. Just note there's about the same number from the 2017 class. And that was terrible, quote unquote, terrible class, right? But it's pretty cool. Here it is. Hey, look, I did put it in here. There's my breakout table. So age 18 breaks out about 8.4% of the time on average. I'm calculating it slightly weird in here. You should know, you've got these little symbols. So it's not just age 18, it's over the age of 18. And that way it keeps this breakout consistent. And I thought that might be a more interesting look because I'm tired of everyone saying, oh, just draft 23 rows, draft in the first round. Because there's one guy who did it, so it's 100% or whatever. Still not perfect, but yeah, it's pretty interesting. And that's all 20% threshold, if I'm not mistaken. Where's my other one? There it is. Too many pictures at this point. I'm looking for the one that includes the 30% threshold. Oh yeah, it's the 30. Open both. All right, so it's a 20% threshold, and that's a standard chart. The percentage of players with those breakout ages are broken out from each draft round, kind of a thing. It's all over my timeline, so I'm pretty sure you've seen it. But 18% drafted in the first round, 38% of them break out. Second round, 30% breakout. Third round, 33% breakout. And notice that those are the highest numbers, apart from age 19, obviously. But, if 30% of the time something worked out, like if you were told bungee jumping works 30% of the time and, 67% of the time you die, you probably wouldn't go bungee jumping, right? So it's good, but it's not everything, okay? Like, it's better than most, but it's not everything. But yeah, the fact Rondell Moore in there is going to be good for him, especially since that's the only season that counts. Chase broke out at 19 at both ages. So, and again, if we look at 30% threshold, which is the one RotoViz uses, which is why I started tracking it, it's a lot more useful because it discounts a lot more players. It gives you a better bucket. But anyway, I've talked about that ad nauseum. But players that, let's see, how do we compare this? 18-year-olds with the 20% threshold break out 24% of the time, and with a 30% threshold, they break out 33% of the time. So let's look at age 18 breakouts in this class with a 30% threshold, because that's the more significant number. There's only 3 of them, but again, that's not unusual. That'll be more than most classes. Bateman, Moore, and Jalen Reed. Again, hello, Jalen. I don't think I've ever heard your name before. Jalen Reed has a 1.9 average yards per team pass attempt. Oh, again, for yards per team pass attempt, I do the average of team attempts. So I do team attempts per game, and then I do player yards per game, and then I divide player yards per game by team attempts per game. So it adjusts for games missed. I do that with yards per game now, just to be clear. I think that's what your question was about, Spaceman. But yeah, it's actually slightly low on a per team basis. In that a lot of that team were doing pretty well in yards per team pass attempt. Would be what this is above or below average for the team insinuates. Whereas Moore and Bateman were both killing it. They were dominant in how much they were doing for the team on a per team basis. So that might be a modifying factor for Jalen Reed. And why I've never heard of him. Like the team was pretty good apparently. Or people on the team were providing about as much value at that position, because that's position specific as well, if I remember it. Yep. Overall, he's still productive. So. For production score, which is another thing I'm going to end up talking a lot about this year, it's specifically rating their production. My pre-draft model tries to relate it to players from the past. That's the difference between the two. 0 is kind of perfect, exactly what top 24 players have done in the past in their college seasons, so the whole range. So being over that is kind of what you're looking for. Why I don't use that as a pre-draft model is it's less predictive on point per game, whereas if you adjust it by past players, it gets slightly more predictive, which is where the pre-draft score comes in. And again, this average hit rate column is probably just as good as anything else I've ever done. And that's putting Moore, Bateman, Jalen Reed, Curtis Atwell, Keelan Stokes, apparently, and Amon-Ra. Oh, no, sorry, not Amon-Ra, but in a similar bucket. Isn't Amon-Ra the name of an Egyptian deity? I'm misremembering that. Chase is coming into this in the second or third bucket there, but again, he played more seasons at a very high level. That was not, I don't like Jamar Chase. I got 2 seasons from Chase. What happened there? He didn't play a season that I'm rating as age 17, did he? How many seasons did Chase play in college? Is that question translated into, non-nerd English? Yeah, he didn't play in 2020. Okay, fair enough. Solid decision, I'm sure. And his 2 previous seasons were great, so it's fine. Hey, John, I appreciate this. Just wanted to say I love your worksheet. Didn't use it a lot, but I love that you shared it and gave everyone a chance to look at the format. Just wanted to say thanks. No problem, man. That's what it's for. Honestly, I worry that not a lot of people use it, but I'm hoping people appreciate it. If they wanted to go fact check their favorite analyst or see what they think of the other stats, they can anytime they want. That's what I want to be able to do. That's what I made, and I appreciate it. If I can help you use it, like if there's something like there's too much in there, or you want some things taken out or something put in that would make you use it more, let me know. Happy to add or shorten or whatever it is that discourages people. But really appreciate it, John. Thank you. He opted out. Yeah, just figured that out. Appreciate it. Thanks. And that's not a problem. I'd rather know what a player did in his first 2 years and all 3 years. But some people, I know a lot of people prefer looking at last year, specifically for wide receiver, which still I don't get. But that might be a problem for some. Like I didn't get to see his full culmination in the last year or whatever. But if so, then they shouldn't like Rondon Moore either. So, you know, he played, but he didn't play enough games really to judge. Like, what was it, 4? Throw it out. that's my method. Oh, he didn't play? No, throw it out. I mean, what can I say? He didn't play. Throw it out. Don't know why. Don't know. Whew. Boy, howdy, Rondon Moore was doing a job for that team, right? He was never, pretty much never below 20 points per game. Okay. And Chase was 27 points per game that last year he played. Yeah, get wrecked, kids. Comparisons. 12 points per game averages. I don't drag him in for a wide receiver when I think about it. Yeah, I don't drag in points per game averages. Okay. Probably do a quick. Yeah, all my combine states just broken. I'm trying to hook it up, I swear to God. All right, so on average over a full career, a top 24 player will score about 18 points per game. Rough estimate. Yeah, Rondon Moore is looking pretty good. Pretty good. Rashad Bateman right on the money. Jalen Reed underproductive and PPR points at least. And Chase, perfect. He's going to be over 20 realistically. I need to find someone who can talk to me about Mr. Terry. Anyone a big Florida State fan? I need more context for him. Tylan Wallace. Tylan Wallace looks good to me, man. Three points per game above conference expectation for the position he was playing on the team. 10% higher market share than conference would expect for his wide receiver rank on the team. 6.9% over average for his entire career. Yeah, Wallace looks good. I know you can't read most of this stuff. There's no way I can, like, if I zoom in enough that you can read it, you can barely see anything. There you go. it's too big. That's what she said. I do have decimal breakout ages in here now for all you fucking nerds that like that. That's at a 30% threshold. So you know, you can see that decimal age in the year that they broke out, as if that matters. He broke out his knee. Oh, you're talking about Wallace, yeah. So 5 games the first season, then 13, 9, and 9. I don't know when he would have gotten injured by that. I mean, dominator scores. Not much in his first year, which is not untypical. 38, 34, 43%. Pretty big part of that team. Was pretty effective, and the odds for team attempt. Oh, wait, pass attempt is what we need. There he is. 3.2, 2.9. Those are good numbers, man. Yeah, much more productive than anyone else in his team on a per attempt basis. Much more. For comparison, that amazing season by Rondell Moore, he's 1.2 yards per team pass attempt above the players on his team at the same position, 30 touches or more. Whereas Taylor Wallace, 1.9 is like his average. Yeah. He was doing a lot more for his. I mean, again, that doesn't adjust by what the team is, but they were getting a lot out of Wallace in the. No idea. Oklahoma State. Yeah. Big 12. I knew that. I'm looking for the guy. I don't know who it's going to be. This is a Henry Ruggs or Riley Ridley of this class. Yeah. Devin Thomas is second in the mock. Let's just not talk about him for a second because there's a reason for it. November 2020. So this season, okay. But he played most of the season before he got there. So I guess if that's how college works. Like saying he played 9 games. 2019. Played a lot of games that year. And, which, I'm not challenging. Yeah, he played 9 games. Not challenging that he did it. I just mean we probably saw enough of what he was doing that year to judge his season, which is a good thing for us since so many people, had a crappy last year. And it's his age 19 season, which is his best or most impressive, I'm pretty sure. So, yeah. Have to see what the NFL makes of him, I guess. Trying to make this a little more accurate because I'm a nerd. There we go. Yeah, it's actually kind of accurate. 17% of the players I've got currently in the database, and remember, some won't declare, some are going to stay in college, various other things, but it's an amazingly high percentage of players breaking out at age 18 for this class. Age 19 is kind of on form. Actually, let's develop an average column here. The average is like 8.5, and they're at 17. Oh, shit. Sorry, it's tiny. There you go. That's what it is. Doing the 30% threshold. God, I'm just obsessive with organization. Seriously. Yeah. Six percent at a 30% threshold compared to an average of 4. And to be fair, I don't think we should probably include some of these earlier classes, but you know what I mean. Doing the best we can. Oh. Wow. Okay. Every class with a significantly above average percentage of players with a 30% threshold at age 18. This column right here, this one right here I'm looking at. Every time it's significantly over this 4% mark, just look at the classes here. Let me, am I just insane here? But so the average is 4. You've got 2003, 2005, 2007 significantly. 2010. Oh, this isn't. I'm not looking in the right place. Okay, there you go. Let me do all that again. 2005, 2007, 2009, 2012, 2004, really, 14, then 2021. Is there not a commonality to those being good classes, or is that just am I going crazy? Every time it's over 5. I mean, I'm not doing the whole this is a great class thing at all. I'm never, no. I know it's just we can't have a good class. I just have to having the 2020 class go off, right? That's not happening. Thoughts? Hmm. Mm-hmm. 432 columns of data, 28,000. Wow, 284,967 stats recorded in this database so far. Again, we're not Matt Spencer, but I'm pretty happy with it. Someone may have to talk me off a ledge and Rashad Bateman. He only played 5 games last year. I might be in love with Rashad Bateman. I don't know how to feel about that. He's got 2 years with less than 1,000 yards, so people who don't understand, rookie production are going to be like, meh. That's just perfect. He only had 2 touchdowns last year, played 5 games, and still had what was that? What was that, Dominator? 55% of the teams. 2021 was weird. Okay, but I think I'm in love with Rashad Bateman. I want to see Tylan Wallace and Rashad Bateman next to each other. I can't decide who I like more. Huh. Wow. Okay, let's just go look at his career. Rashad Bateman's a bad man. You see the way his third year isn't counted over here? It's because he's playing less than 8 games. Someone tell me Rashad Bateman's a tiny little guy who's going to have a bad combine, because I would love that. Huh. It's hot. It's just hot. Jesus. Bateman's even going to be younger than Tyler Johnson coming in. It's Swanson. Yeah, I like Bateman a lot. Yeah, everything's subject to change, but I already knew about him a little bit. I have yet to find anything I particularly. He's just good. He's really good. Trying to get some conference ratings in. Like, where did Bateman rate in terms of the conference of players he was playing with? Not just the average stats, but like literally, where did he finish in his conference? I hope he's not a nut puncher. And you know, as Zach Reed reminded me recently, I was really high on Kelvin Harmon, so take it for what it's worth. But I don't think there's much that can keep him out of my top tier wide receivers. Yeah, the players I have the most questions on, you know, just to stop staring at these things and actually, you know, tell you something. I want to know more about Kylan Wallace and what other people think of him. There's a guy called Tamarian Terry. I need to look into more. I don't know if he's been noticed yet, but I kind of like some of his profile stuff. Rondell Moore and Chase are probably going to lead this class fairly easily. And then there's a few other players that I'm interested in looking into a little more depth that I don't know anything about. Elijah Moore, Atwell, Cameron Dollar, apparently. Justin Moss, Terry Black. I don't know where they're going to land, but I'm interested in them right now. Devontae Smith, you know, he's going to be in the top 12, middle of the top 12 of this class, I'd imagine. I'm not overly excited about it, but I mean, he had a fine college career. I like what he did in college a lot more than Henry Ruggs, but he's probably not going to get the draft capital Ruggs did. Just trying to read the landscape. A little cheat there, because I was talking with Zach Reed, actually, about Devontae Smith a little bit in DMs, and he was telling me a little bit about what he thinks of him, so got some outside knowledge, which isn't true of any of these other guys. What's going on here? Oh, what's this? I don't know what this thing is. Oh, hit rates. Okay. Ray does? All right. I'll talk to Ray about it. It's the problem with not knowing any of these players. I mean, with statistics, everything is sampling and context, and I have a lack of real life context. I can talk to Ray. I think he'll still talk to me. He's pretty friendly. I see, yeah. It's one thing. I watch players. I enjoy watching sports. It's not part of my process to grind film, as it were. I don't watch and take notes and pay careful attention, but I go and watch to see what type of player they are. I do. You know, I don't want to. If a player's got a great production profile, and then you go and you watch him, like, he's the only guy on the team, and he's really slow, and the defenders are just avoiding him because, you know, context is, very, very important. So I watch just to make sure, but I don't have evaluations. I don't evaluate through film. Just kind of like a quick eye test would be the best way I'd say it. But yeah, I just enjoy watching people play sports, so I watch as much of it as I can. So why wouldn't I? Yeah. Hey, Duncan, how you doing, man? Yo, appreciate it. I started off looking at NFL stats, and as is typical right now, we just ended up on rookies because that's what people want to know. If anyone's ever wondering when I do get this out and you can all look at it, the reason some of their draft positions in the 2020 class are just their first names is because I use draft position as one of my identifiers for an ID column, and where they don't have one yet, it doesn't separate them. So I'm using their first name as like a temporary thing. Off of my Amari Rogers, apparently. Fix that, dude. It's not important. It's just there. All right. No one's asking any more rookie questions, so I'm going back to the thing I was making. I can upload. Anytime now. There it is. I'm gonna upload this to the NFL database that I've got out for patrons. That's what I'm working on right now. I don't like new Excel at all. There we go. That one. So this is similar type of thing that you all have access to in my market share database. It's just NFL stats, going back to 2000 all players. And I try and upload interesting little side tabs like career production. So you can actually look up how players compared in whatever year, their first, second, or third year, to the average of players with certain thresholds. So right now it's set to players with 2 top 24 seasons. What did they do on average in each of their career years across these stats? So you compare CeeDee Lamb in this case. His position rank in year 1 was 21. That's straight position rank, apparently. And then you can see that compares really well to players that have 2 top 24 seasons. You can also do it for Justin. Should update. Yeah, there we go. I spelled the name wrong. Okay. I forgot the S. And it compares incredibly well to players with multiple important fantasy seasons, And you can also see something of the career arc everyone fears. You see it goes all the way into like year 7. That's fine. But anyway. And so I was going to upload this Ask You Squared tab because, the more fakey nerds I drag into my little orbit, the more they get interested in things like, which stat is useful for what. And this is a type of thing that can give you at least a baseline knowledge, which is what I have, a baseline knowledge of what's important and why. Here we go. So I just made this form. I'm going to do a video on this whole database, what's in it, and you can use it, what's important, what's not important, as far as I'm concerned. So they can navigate it a little easier so they're new. I'm going to do one of those for my market share database too, but let's not take those out. There you go. So, for example, if you're interested in what stat, just if you're going to look at what stat helps you guess how well a player is going to do in 2021, well, what position are we talking about? If we're talking about running back, the stat that's most useful is points per game. How many points per game did they get? That explains the majority of the largest amount of the variance from year 1 to year 2. When you look from 2009 to 2020 with 30 touches or more, played at least 5 games. It's not everything, but at least it gives you some context. Yards per team, pass attempt per game is about as good as points per game, for example. It's pretty much exactly the same. So it just gives you an idea of which stats are most useful. But if you're trying to predict, target share next year, it does a pretty good job across all positions. Target share is pretty descriptive of the target share they're going to get the following season. So Derrick Henry, unlikely to raise. Alvin Kamara, unlikely to lower. That's what it tells you. Whereas if you're wondering how well points per game explains, the points per game they get by position next year, you can see it does a poorer job at running back. It scores 0.24 or 24%. Let's just call it 24%. And so even though it gives you, 40% of the variance, it only explains 24% of what an individual player is going to do next season in and of itself. So, no, it's interesting. I think it's interesting. I got to check all those formulas now and think about it, but yeah. I try and maintain and improve. Let me see. Is that one right? Because that sounded weird. So W to AC, running back tab. Points per game. Nope. I got it wrong. Shoot. That's how it explains target share. I gotta update it. Oh, that's why. Hang on a second. Okay. I forgot to do something because I got to talking to you guys. Now I've got to update the whole thing. Okay. AC. So those results are inaccurate. Nice. Those results should have been the same. That's what I was saying. No, that's AD. This is AE. Stats. Who wouldn't want to do this? This is also the reason most R-squared tables are hard to read, because organizing it in a way that isn't hard to read is just awesome. Left the F in the alphabet. G, right? G. Definitely G. I gotta learn R. It's at moments like these, Peter realized that learning how to code would be a really good idea. Damn it. Insane in the brain. Oh. Yeah, I see it. H G H I. I'm gonna look right back over at you, Chad. I hope you got a lot of questions for me. Not really a rookie question, but I was looking at your DB and curious how you calculated CPOE on the QBs. They're all minus. Yeah. That's probably broken. I got to pay attention to that. Thank you for letting me know. How do I calculate it? Well, I do have a formulas and results tab in that database, so you can actually see the formulas I'm using. CPOE specifically is a quarterback stat, so I do not care about it. But where is it? Yeah, there you go. So you'll see something like this in that database, and you can filter if you want, or just look along. But you can see it's a hacked Frisco Josh stat. He's the one who calculates CPOE. I strongly recommend you check out his results, because mine's a hacked version, because I don't have all the data that he uses. But it's basically last year's completion percentage minus the conference average completion percentage. And the reason it's broken is because I've moved a bunch of stats around and the columns are now in different places. So it's returning an error. So I will fix that. Thanks. I've even got a link in that formulas tab to Josh Hermsmeyer's article where he explained what it is. Now, the reason mine's slightly different is I don't have the exact data he's got. It should all be the same, but the funny thing about data is always some differences depending on your sourcing, and his data is going to be superior to mine. So my conference average will turn out to be a little bit different than his, especially because he's probably calculating it more sophisticatedly. I'm using conference average for players who play as a quarterback one in every season for that year, so on and so forth, whereas he's probably got a better idea of what the average is. So that's how I'm calculating it. And again, we can find all my formulas and also some sourcing. Like if I get it from somewhere, like in that one, I put a link in there so you can go and see the original. And I strongly recommend you always check out the originals, because especially when I'm hacking something like that, it's just not going to be as good. But I want to collect and follow it as best I can. That's the whole idea of that started me doing this. I want to be able to look whenever I want, whoever I want. But then trust but verify, you know. In fact, I can try and fix that now for you if you want. But be aware, the whole thing might come tumbling down around me when I open that sheet up. Okay, so verify. Yeah, that looks better. All right. Where's that browser tab of mine? Gotta fix it. Me wouldn't take me at all. Sorry about the singing. I don't mean to. No, that's the wrong one. I was going to the file instead of the sheet. Google works in a weird way, okay, guys? It's not exactly intuitive sometimes. Here I stand. Good thing about Google, well, there's a lot of good thing about Google Sheets. It's amazing, especially as a free thing. But Excel and Google Sheets actually integrate, so I can do things like this straight from my sheet on my laptop to the Google Sheet that's online and live, and I think that's pretty freaking awesome. I mean, maybe that's just me, but anyway, that's now accurate. So yeah, points per game, 0.04. Points per game to points per game for running backs, 0.94. So now actually it looks accurate. Let's see. A-Dot is actually the best at explaining itself outside of opportunity share, actually. Spaceman, and again, this is my calculation of opportunity score, so when you get yours finished, you're probably going to be doing a better job of it than mine, but my hacked version of Spaceman's opportunity score is actually really good at explaining itself. So in other words, the opportunity score running backs gets this year explains or describes, I'm trying to use not the word predict, the opportunity score they're going to get next year better than any other stat, including A-Dot. So you can running backs maintain a similar role year to year better than even wide receivers maintain a similar A-Dot, which is pretty actually that's actually a pretty strong statement there, Spaceman. Should get on that. Anyway, what was I going to look at? Oh, yeah, CPO. I barely look at the quarterback tab. In all fairness to me, because I don't do a lot of quarterback evaluation, but this is my market share database trying to load right now, or the current version of it that I'm working on before I make it live for everyone. Let's see if it'll open, and we'll take a look at what's going wrong. Is locked for editing. Yeah, okay. I don't know why it would be. Let's go find out what that's about. You're welcome. Yeah, this has been my life lately. Ask for it to open the sheet, then I sit here, talk to people on Twitter. If it doesn't open up in 5 minutes or so, I crash the whole system and try again. Same, about to launch Patreon as well. Oh, awesome. Let me know. I'll sign up for it. Some people had some interest. I might as well. Yeah, I don't even have any interest. I just did it. It's a, look at it this way, Spaceman. It's a place you can put your own stuff. Like you can write a mini article. I do that all the time. I write articles that I'm not going to send anywhere because I don't care to proofread them, or they're more immediate, or they're too short for a website to really be interested in it. I do those videos not everyone's going to be interested in, like how to do this or how to do that. Twitter's not interested in that for the most part. Most of YouTube isn't. But people that come to your Patreon might be interested in how you specifically do something, and you make a video, you put it up there, and those that are interested can see it. It's just like it's kind of like having a website, but not. So another place that can go find your stuff. So don't think of it as, will people pay me? Because mostly no. But it's a place for you to put stuff, and you can choose whether it's behind that paywall or not. Everyone can see it if you say for public, and that's what I do with most of my stuff. But if you wanted to make something Patreon specific, like a video or a podcast or a specific sheet is what I do, like this NFL database I was just updating, you can just make it a Patreon only post, and only patrons can click on it, and therefore only patrons can get to the sheet. I find it works pretty well. And seriously, let me know. Everyone that I know has got a Patreon. I sign up for it just for $1, man. I can't pay everyone $5 or whatever they're charging. But that's a good thing about Patreon. You can just choose your donation amount. Like if you don't have any money, but I can afford $1 right now, you just do that. Just to say thanks. I do that to pretty much everyone I know that's got one. So let me know. The new PC is meant to be coming tomorrow. Seriously, Amazon needs to chill. Like, PSA, Amazon, I would have been okay with it being like a week. Like, I want it, don't get me wrong. But, like, it's not immediate. I mean, I want to work on this, don't get me wrong. But, like, I had two options. Do you want it tomorrow or in 3 days? I don't know, give the employees an extra bathroom break and give it to me in 3 days. Like, there is now no, it will take a week to get there. That's what parcel service has come down to, which is freaking amazing. But, yeah, it's meant to be here tomorrow, and then I'll set it up and try and get it running and stuff. I ordered a VGA. Like, my monitor runs on an old cord, like, because I didn't know they'd updated it. And the new PC doesn't have a VGA attachment, so I've ordered a converter. I have to see it that way. I don't know I can go back to one screen. This is just too cool. I feel like I'm in a spaceship. So hopefully that works. But yeah, it's meant to be tomorrow. It's exciting for me, man. Most newest, most interesting thing I've had. Right. I've in the mail for a while. That wasn't my heart's still sick. I'm like, man, but as my sheep's starting. Okay, dude, I don't think anybody had to look at SIPO live for you. It's even struggling to open it right now. There's just too many formulas running in it. My little 2-core processor, and it's a really good processor. It's a really good laptop. It tries hard, but like, oh wow, look at that! I spoke too soon. It heard me. All right. Quarterback tab. What's going wrong with SIPO? Where is it? I don't even know where the damn thing is. That's a rating, adjusted yards per pass attempt. Yards per team attempt. Completion percentage with greater than 100 attempts. Okay, that sounds like roughly where it would be, right? Here it is. Oh, look at that. It's because I didn't copy the formula over. Well, partly because of that, apparently. Thank you. Thanks for letting me know. Yeah, it's column U in mine. Go figure. Spaceman says a video I'd be interested in is how to test for sticky stats. We are literally just doing that. But yeah, I can make a video on it. There's also one in there, how to test R squared in Excel. That'll get for you. And R squared is by no means the only or best measure. You should really look up. I think I did a video on this one as well. It's a stat that late round QB calculates, and it's what's it called? I've forgotten the name of it. CV coefficient of variation. That's the one, CV. And that in a given sample range, you can check for the variance within it, and that would be a useful test as well. Okay, my processors working all four together. Finally calculated or looked up that stat. Okay. I've got a few stats here that, hang on. QB tabs is broken at this point. Just ignore breakout age for QBs. I don't have a good breakout age for QBs yet. I haven't figured out how to do that. See, they all break out at age 18 because it's not a real stat. All right, so what am I calculating here? So, do you want to see it? It's a little nerdy, but hang on. I don't think I can enlarge that much. Hang on. Get my big face out the way. And all right, so this is the formula, the way that I've written to do it. What's it doing? If quarterback, which everyone in this database is quarterback, that's how old this formula is. It's back when I used to have all the different positions in the same one. Remove their last year's completion from the average, and I'm calculating average raw. Okay. So the question is AD completion percentage? This is my data from college. As you can see, it's a lot. This is why I don't just upload this. It's, All right. We're looking for completion percentage. If anyone sees it before I see it, let me know. AD is passing completion percentage. Nice. Passing attempts is AC. Those are column names, by the way. Sorry, I'm not listing random numbers at you. So I do want to know the average passing percentage. Oh, that's why, because look at this passing completion percentage. All the numbers are wrong. I think Matt must have done a per game thing here. Okay, I can fix that, I think. Okay, so the formula wasn't wrong. My actual data is a little off. I don't know. I updated this from Matt Spencer's stuff because he's got a lot more than me and it was better. And frankly, sometimes I didn't read his columns right. It's not his fault. Passion completions is what? Attempts divided by completions. If there's zeros, if it's an error, just give me a 0. Hold your breath, hold your mouth right, because I'm about to ask it to update everything. And down the bottom here, I don't know if you're familiar with Excel, but down the bottom here, right where my mouse is, this little thing is telling me how many processors it's using. Mine has 2, not 7 or 8 or whatever modern computers have, and how far along it is. All right. Oh, I did that the wrong way around. Look at that. Completions divided by attempts. And the reason I mention that is sometimes it's fun to watch. That was actually remarkably quick. And this isn't my live data. This is just the data I've got stuffed in here. The one I've got that collects stuff is somewhere else. I could not open that up right now. So these are all values, not formulas. So I have to update that one before I can make it go live, but here we go. Mostly fixed. Could I get this to you guys? All right, I'm going to try and get this to you, dude, so you can see CPO accurately. Let me delete this QB tab. Oh, I forgot it all. All right. Let me just check something. What does it think conference is? Big East Conference in the J column? Yeah, that's right. Okay. Yeah, save that. Okay, it'll take a while to save it. Yeah. Actually, it's working pretty well today, I gotta say. Give me a second, Spaceman. I'll get to what I think we're talking about, and I'll tell you roughly how I go about doing it. No problem. But I can do a video on it as well, and like outside of a 20-second explanation on stream. Yeah, seriously, man. Shout out to the laptop. It is working its butt off. 12 players. I know I am anthropomorphize things too much. Like, it's stupid to talk about a laptop like a real thing, but it's the way I live. I can't help it. I don't know where anything is in UXL. Where's the formula? Yeah, there it is. Nice. I'm removing QBH just so I don't confuse anyone because it's not a real thing. It's not a real thing. Yet. I'll get one. But right now, no. Merge. This combine data is all incorrect. That's why I'm just nullifying it all. Well, it might not be incorrect, but I can't swear to it, so I'm just removing it. So little hair. Good. I just can't wait to make love. Mac Jones, come on down. Mac Jones from this year, apparently. Joe Burrow leads in completion percentage above, according to my version. And again, I've got to work on that formula a little bit. Just anyone with over 100 pass attempts in the whole history of that conference. So I do have to do a little bit of a better job there. And again, Josh's results will be different than mine, and his will be better. Just owning that, okay? So whenever he gets his new article out on it, like I will be one of the first people to click on it and read it, no matter where he puts it. I've got cloud storage now, apparently, for Excel. I don't need it, but thanks. That's why I got Dropbox, baby. All right. Left. Everybody look right. Now look, I'm staring in the spotlight. Where did I put this super secret Patreon only copy of the early database? I think it's this one, right? Super secret. I make myself laugh. That's the important thing. Man, I need more coffee. Here it is. Yeah. Oh, no. It's all gone. I deleted it. No, not really. Let me Everybody look right. Everybody look right. No. All right, dude. If you go check out the link again, you'll find the QB tab still there, hopefully with a new results for column S SIPO. Again, to be trusted as far as you could throw me, which, you know, is probably further than me. Trevor Lawrence, I know that name. He comes up pretty high in it, and he's going to get draft capital. So that's cool. All right. Spaceman. Let's look at this one. This is going to be my best way of explaining it. I go very manual on these kind of things, which means I can't make it live. Well, I don't often make it live, so that anyone looking at it can update for different thresholds for themselves. But I found it to be the simplest way for me. And you can vary the process that you want. Like right here is I'm testing R squared consistency year to year plus 1, right? All right. So the way I did it is take running backs, please. For example, I copied my database. I literally made a copy of it. So the database is over here. I just made a copy of it. And then I filtered to just running backs. Well, yeah, you can do it that way. And then I made these secondary columns of the stats I wanted to test. And these are year n plus 1. And I just used a simple lookup, literally index matched. And I made a helper column. So I looked at the player draft position and then the season year. And then when I was looking it up, I +1 on the match formula. So it's looking at that player the next season. And then it dragged all their stats from the database into their year +1 results. The other way you can do it, because you're on RotoViz, is when you download from the Roto screener, it does this for you automatically. You select the stats that you want, and then the what do they call it? It's like an N column next to all the stats you want. That's the next year's results. So you can actually get that already formatted for you, but I like to use my own database, so there you go. So it actually creates this for you, and then you can just test R squared. Now, the easiest way to do it, because they're all in the same order, because I just copied and pasted the order, is do the R squared formula, which you know and love. And then you select that column stats. Then I go over to the next year's stats. And that's how, as you know, that's how you can just do a very simple R squared formula. Now, the other step I forgot to mention is I filter for players. So I go, shortest to longest, and then through games and opportunities. And I literally just delete, because it's a copy, not the actual database. Everyone with less than 5 games and less than 30 touches in both year 1 and year 2. That's not the best sample. It's just the most broadest I can think of. That seems fair, right? I mean, you can have different thresholds, like only players that played a full season, or only players that had 120 touches, whatever threshold you want to put on it, right? So yeah, the simplest way would just be in this top column to test R squared. There it is, target share to target share, pretty consistent for running backs, right? And then when you drag it across, it just drags, because I didn't hold the columns, it keeps testing from stat to stat, and you get all the results. But since I want it in a table like this, I create the table, and then I go, for this one specifically, you can see this is the, well, you probably can't see, but it says RSQQB. It's specifically looking in the quarterback tab through the correct columns to test target share against points per game. And then I kind of manually adjust the formulas for where they're meant to be. Now, a quicker way of doing it, but I think it's harder to read for most people, would be to, what stats are we looking at here? These ones. You create a top column, create a bottom column, or a side column, as it were. And, you can write a formula to do this instead of dragging and dropping. But, there's only 9 stats in this particular example. Should be all of them, right? Yep. So those are the stats I'm testing from year N to year N +1. So down here you have the N stats, and up here you have the N +1 stats. And then you could write that formula again, or as I have done before, I've just asked it to look up the previous test. Right? And then you drag and drop. So these are the stats on themselves. And you can see how you can move the data around or move the formulas around to test each stat against all the other stats in like a matrix style thing, in a R squared matrix. Anyway, so that's just a 20-second explanation, but that's roughly how I go about it. It's essentially a manual hack from actually creating an actual testing matrix. And this would just be, running backs or wide receivers or whatever. Or you can create, like I did, several different samples, tight end, wide receiver, running back, and quarterback, and run the tests over all of them and write the formulas all manually. And that's where I've done it. And this is testing 9 stats against themselves. For example, if I get rid of this, that's what you're seeing here, target share versus itself. For quarterback, for running back, for wide receiver, and tight end, all these stats against themselves. But I think the most important ones, points per game and expected points, projecting their volume or their actual production. And that's how, and that's the way I'm doing it now, because I think this is easier to read for most people that aren't super nerds like you or fake nerds like me, as in guy who knows what he's talking about and guy who doesn't know what he's talking about. when it comes to statistics. Like, how well does target share for quarterbacks predict points? Not at all. But points per game for running backs, target share does pretty well. How do I relate that? Well, here's all the other results. So it's lower than expected points, but it's higher than fantasy points per game, for example. I don't think it's an easy way of reading it, but you could also, like I traditionally did, and I think, like all the super nerds do. By super nerds, I mean people that are smarter than me by a long shot. Is just actually have what are they? I'm pretty sure it's matrix. It's a R² matrix or whatever. And the way I do it in Excel is write the formulas and then drag them to an appropriate place so that I can just stretch them. And then you're essentially got all the formulas. So target shares, test and target share, expected points as test and expected points per game in the right places. So you can see it, but it's all based on this manual work that you did behind the scenes. So I get the result without being able to write code. I don't know if that's a great explanation for you, but you're pretty smart and you're better at Excel than me, I think. So you think you can figure out what I'm talking about there, if you could see any of it. So yeah, I create the sample manually, and then I run the tests on the exact columns in the right cells that I want, instead of writing a formula that does it all for me, because that seems complicated. I drink every time you say R². R², 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 R². You are welcome, Jojo. At some point, I've seen a page on some of your spreadsheets with other tests besides R². Yeah, there's a bunch you can run. Like I said, coefficient of variation is a good one. And stop with the I'm better Excel. Well, I mean, I think you actually know Excel. I'm self-taught. I don't even know the words for most of these things. You know how long it took me to figure out that you could actually just test R² instead of making, there you go, Jojo, instead of making a graph and asking it to do it off the trend line? Like, it took me forever to figure that you can write RSQ. Like, I actually had to Google that. Like, I don't know shit, man. I learn as I go. That's what I mean. You know stuff. I just figure it out as I'm forced to. And I specifically learned that because I wanted to make this kind of a table, man. And you can't make a graph for every cell. So instead I figured out that you could write the formula, and then I just write the right formulas. Now, there are some hacks, depending on how you have your data lined up. You can, you can just write it once and then drag it, which is helpful. But you've got to be aware which cell that's going to be looking up. Is that accurately going to be target share to expected points or target share to A dot? And that's all based on the way you have your data lined out in whatever sheet you're testing on. Again, there's got to be an easy way of doing it. Like, there's probably a button in here that's just like create R² projection matrix. And I don't know about it. And I'm just writing all these things out manually. I wouldn't be surprised at all. As far as tests other than an R², I would have to see it or know what you're talking about. The only one I can think about right now is coefficient of variation, and that's the average divided by the mean. You know how to make both those formulas, so you just divide them by each other. And then again, it's a matter of how you line your data up. So here I've got it listed out by columns by season. If you revert that and put the seasons across the top, then you can do a coefficient of variation running down here. Now, I mostly do that. I don't know if you've ever been on 4for4, but they've got some really interesting data. You've got to remember that the sites calculate things differently. You know that. So like 4for4, I think, specifically takes out pass attempts, for example, that are incomplete in some of their tables. So it will create different results to RotoViz. But where's 4for4 data? Yeah, here it is. I can show you the actual website and how it comes down. But if you like ask for they call them apps. If you ask for its target app, then when you download it, it looks like this. So instead of having season listed down the left and all the players, in line, instead it's got the weeks 1 to 16 running across the top. So if you want to run a coefficient of variation calculation, it's really easy because of the way they've got their data lined up. You just ask for the average of whatever the sample you want in that season, divided by the mean. in the same sample, and you get a coefficient of variation score. And again, the way I learn it is I Googled coefficient of variation in Excel. And it showed that I could do exactly what I just said to you. Oh, this is saved as a CSV, so yeah, that's what that warning is. But yeah, and if you want 4for4 data, man, let me know, and I can send you what I've got of it. Let me pull up the website here. I don't know if you, I mean, DLF, I think you were writing for DLF. They actually, the reason I'm in 4for4, I'm in deep, is because DLF and 4for4 have a relationship. And so people who work for DLF get a special sign in, and you can go on and you can see their shit. It's not their premium. You can't see their DFS content, but you can get to their apps, which is where all their data is. So this is 4for4. And if I go through their player targets app, okay. Yeah. Sorry. Got to sign in. There it is. And you do it by year. So the way I did it is I just saved each individual year and then I combined them. That's the first way I tried to create a weekly database. It didn't work exactly well. But it's an interesting way that the data is listed without any extra work of you moving shit around if you want to do coefficient of variation. And now, if you want to do it season to season, obviously, I think RotoViz is better because you can use the screener to do that and then just line it up the way you need it. Now, so what I'm basically telling you is the difference between us and people that code is we have to manually move our data into the right place so that you can run the formula that you want. With coding, you can just tell it to, I guess, look up the right data, put it in the right place, and then run this formula on it, bitch. I'm imagining that's the way they sound when they write it. We have to do all the work manually to line up our data correctly. And that's the trick with Excel. You can do everything that you want. It just takes a lot more manual work. And again, someone who knows about Excel is just like, click the button. It's got a feature that does that probably, but I don't know it. So this is the way I figured out how to do it. We really are. We're the peasants of the data world, and I'm okay with that, man. Low class, low stakes. That's my role. And again, I think 4for4 data is pretty interesting. It's got a targets app, so you can look up targets between 2013, 2020, and it lists them week by week along the columns there, and that's a pretty cool way of seeing it. It's also got a touches app, and you can combine them, obviously, into one big thing if you wanted. It's also got a snap app. I find the snap data a little more consistent and better than RotoViz. For example, you probably know I'm getting a lot of no results in that weekly thing we use for our databases from RotoViz. There's a lot of players with that snap data, even within the year range that it says it has it, whereas 4for4 has literally got them all. And it's got them all listed and lined up. It's slightly different data pool, again, where they drop basically empty attempts. So, some of their team passing attempts and rushing attempts look different than RotoViz, and it's because of the things that are ignoring, which they have listed on the website, so you can figure it out. But again, it takes a lot of manual work. And it's also got, well, now we can get that from RotoViz, but 4for4 for a while had, for longer, has had like FanDuel points and DraftKings points, so you didn't have to manually calculate those bonuses, which is handy. And so, yeah, 4for4 is pretty cool. I'm not selling 4for4 to you right now. I do not work for them, but I have some of this data if you want the weekly shit from 4for4. I'd send you away. Fantasy points, you have to drag it individually for 3 different scoring systems and then individually by year. So it's a little bit of a chore. But as you can see, this is my... you can't see it at all, right? But that's my list of data I've already stolen from 4for4. And it goes up to 2019. I've really got to go download their 2020 shit. Yeah. I actually have it in one of my other tabs because I was using it for something else. So I actually have it. I just haven't saved it over into there, which I should. Let's do that now. Why not? I'm nervous now because eventually my subscription runs out in 4for4 and I have to wait until DLF gets a new one. So I better do that now, I think about it. It's targets. Yeah, man, it gets insane, right? Especially when you're in Excel. That's the other thing with Excel that fucking nerd coders don't realize. They have it all neatly. It's just got a program that pulls up whatever they want, I guess. I've played with their R a little bit, so I understand how their storage system works at least. But with us, we've just got reams and reams of sheets, and I've got to accurately name everything, or I can't remember what anything is. And I have so many sheets, which I'm sure are really good. I was calculating something really intense, but I saved it as like untitled one, and now I have no idea. I can't figure it out, man. That's why I started trying to get a lot more organized by which database is live and which one isn't, and stuff like that. I'm actively stealing 4for4 data while we talk, just so you know. 4for4, if you're out there, really appreciate it, guys. But I'm stealing your shit as we talk. And you got to be really careful. I have to be really careful with their fantasy points thing. I've downloaded standard points before, thinking they're PPR, and it messes everything up. Us Excel folks calculate uphill both ways to get the answer right. We're the grinders. With the grinders, it's true. I know there's a lot of coding grinders out there. I'm friends with a bunch. I think they're good people. But they have no idea how much easier they have it. Sometimes so I'm doing a lot of manual work before I can even find that out, man. I've just made it a habit, actually. Every time I get access to someone's data, I save it, very cleanly label what it is, just because at some point in the future, I might need that, and I won't have access to it by that point. $20 weekly targets, just a clean CSV from 4for4, you know. Appreciate it, 4for4, I do. That's the thing, the data's not proprietary. You can't own data, but they very rightly charge, because, again, as we just talked about, the amount of effort it takes you to put this in line and work it into a database, it's significant. So, like, this is why I don't just give this stuff away, but I need it. I need it. So I steal it. It's the only answer. I'm glad you reminded me of this somehow, Spaceman, actually, because I would have forgotten, and then my subscription would have ran out, and what if I needed it in the meantime? This is one, like I said, this is how I originally thought I was going to be able to build a weekly database, because 4for4 has it lined out that way. With the screener, as you know, it's really difficult to do one search for week 1 and one search for week 2. I had no idea how I was going to do it that way, and so my plan was 4for4. But now that weekly app on RotoViz is going to make that a lot better and cleaner, I think. Well, you know, you're already halfway through doing it. So. And there's a lot of other cool stuff I'll point out on 4for4. They've got amazing articles that I read constantly, especially during the season. They've got a lot of cool apps that I can't see because they're in that premium package for DFS and stuff. You find RotoViz fantasy points not accurate. That's interesting. Never heard that one. I believe it, though. Again, it's not that they're not accurate. They obviously know how to write their formulas to calculate fantasy points, but it's about everything's sampling. Do they include week 17? Do they include extra overtime? Do they include throwaway? Do they not include overtime? There's always something a little different between each database, and it's frustrating when I'm like, oh, you scored 19.7 fantasy points per game, and the next guy's like, no, it has 18.4. What are you talking about? Where are you getting yours from? Because that's the difference. And we act like data's stationary. Everyone has the same numbers. There's a little variance in there, which is fine. Just be useful if everyone listed what it was. I think 4 for 4 is on to me. Just no, we're good. Shh, we're hunting rabbits. Yeah, there's nothing like you finally getting to the end of a weekly, especially for weekly data, and like, that took a lot. And then RotoViz is like, hey, look, here's an app to do it for you. Thanks. Appreciate it. I mean, I've literally ground out a weekly database before now using 4 for 4, and a bunch of the lookups ended up cocking up. That's why I never released it. But and then now it's just RotoViz has got an app. Yeah, thanks, RotoViz. Didn't take a lot of effort on it. And jumped into FFPC best balls last year, and RotoViz is all but necessary. Yeah, you got to have some access to people that can code. And RotoViz is a great one. I mean, there's a lot of great shit on RotoViz, but the fact that they are able to live drag data, yeah, it's a big one. And they sort it and formulate it and put it all in a neat app for you to download. Like, it's especially if you're putting money on the line, you need some access to it, man. Agreed. All right. So now we have the 2020 data. I've got everything going back to 2013, I think, from that site. Nicely listed in a weekly order. And some of them actually have formatting in them because I was working on them, like creating a coefficient of variation or something over it. Sometimes it's just easier where it's formatted that way. If someone has a question or you want to, like 2018 PPR points, apparently I worked on that because I can see formatting. Yep, I was creating like the percentage of games over 15, 10, and that's the kind of thing you can do with weekly data. Pretty neat, but yeah, do you have to combine them? And the thing with this is, well, you know what it is. Why am I telling you? If you look up Christian McCaffrey's 2017 and this is 2018, it's fine. But when you look up Mike Williams, so you have to create an ID of some sort, and then you have to attach something to create that ID, and I needed to import draft capital and then attach that accurately to every player. I mean, it gets difficult. But if you're just looking for a single season, or like, it's way 4-4's got it formatted is just really useful. You can see you can't see. Why do I keep saying that? I gotta go big screen. I got this little running DM thread. I'm just plugging him for information what he sees on film. Yeah, man, they're cool. They need to give up on big-bodied, athletic wide receivers a little bit. And I know I'm saying that right after DK Metcalf jumps up to like wide receiver 4 or whatever in Dynasty, but they're a little obsessed with athleticism. I'm just saying. And they're 30% threshold for prospects. Like, I get it, but come on, man. We just need to find a new way of looking at age, not just create a higher threshold. Like, it's true, but What's this? Someone couldn't find the database. Which puts my heart in my throat, man. I need everyone to be able to find it. What were we looking at? Oh, yeah, this thing. Like, the problem with coefficient of variation is you need a sample listed next to each other as Excel. So you would, instead of having to have two columns like this, year 1 and year 2, you would need year 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in order to line up the formula right to test it, which is why 4 for 4 is pretty good. Mostly I just stick with R squared because it's, it's pretty decent. It's not by any means necessarily the best way of testing, but most people have some idea. And Jojo, you're welcome for the more drinks. Most people are vaguely aware of it if they're interested in statistics now, because basically JJ Zachariason and Josh Hernsmeyer taught us what it meant, and it is something of a job. If anyone's here who's like, what? Some problems I'll point out with R squared. If you don't like it and it just sounds like a funny thing nerds say, R squared assumes a linear relationship, and not all, specifically in NFL stats, have a linear relationship that can make them useful. For example, no. Right here it's saying A dot basically tells you nothing about no one except itself from this year to next year. But what if it's got a bimodal distribution? R squared testing can't do anything for you. Bimodal is when you have two peaks, and so the relationship looks like a pair of boobs, frankly. But R squared test is going to assume a linear relationship and then say it has no correlation to that linear relationship. So again, that's one reason that R squared is by no means the only or best way that tells you everything. It tells you something. And it's pretty simple, pretty interesting, and useful. But if you want advanced user stats, Adam Harmstead is the one who knows all of that shit and more, and does better tests than I can do. He can test how long it takes a stat to become stable. I literally barely understand what he's doing when he does that. But mathematically, he can test how long or how many touches a player needs before the stat you can say comes from them. For yards per carry, it's something like 1 billion before you know that's their yards per carry, which is part of why yards per carry is trash. I can't do that. I literally barely understand the mathematics of it. So advanced testing, we're learning. I hope to get there. But, I mean, there's more relationships than just something R squared can tell you. So, that's something you can own nerds for. What if it's not a linear relationship? This means nothing. True. Yeah. Yeah, I just think it's getting a little too, where they're a month or two older when they do something. I mean, honestly, the only way I've heard age talk about outside of us stuff is Malcolm Gladwell talked about there being a relationship, and I don't think he's the one who found it. He was just talking about it. There's a relationship between being born in June and being good in ice hockey. And it's because of when the age brackets are for signing up for hockey, or that's what they think it is for. So if you're born in June, you kind of have a physical advantage and you can sign up earlier to most of your classmates. And therefore you get more coaches' preference, you get highlighted, people like you more, they give you more opportunity, more training, more focus, whatever it is. And so that's why June is the thing. But that's true, but it's also true for June to July and August, right? It's just having a birthday in and around the same period, and that might give you some of those advantages. So there you can go decimals, I guess, but we don't know that with breakout age. We don't think it's a matter of signing up when you're young and a certain month. And if so, then we should be tracking, breakout month, not breakout age. And so I think it's getting a little too, I don't think it matters that much that we go decimals. But what would I know? Viz knows a lot more than I do about it. And yeah. But I haven't found a reason for it. I think it gives you just as good a signal. Also, if you use decimals, it's easier to use in models because it's not a static number with no decimal points. It's actually it can be a linear relationship, for example. But if you use breakout age, it works better for percentages because you're defining a very definite number. Like you can group all age 20s together. So that might be why I prefer it as well. Hey, Jojo, you're probably drunk by now after that conversation, man. Juju is lit after that tangent. Yeah, it must be. Sorry. I didn't mean to make you that drunk. Seriously. I've got to look at more times testing. Speaking of which, I need to know more than one. I do not think I like new Excel. I don't like new things. Old things are better. Opportunity share. Interesting. For wide receiver, it's about the same. Dominator or opportunity share in projecting or explaining, and points per game, year 1 to year 2. Or end to end plus 1, I guess. Oh, it's quarterback opportunity saw, which is so sticky. That makes a lot more sense. Sorry. Yeah, that's not true. A dot's still the most sticky for a wide receiver specifically. And this is a stickiness test of the stat to the stat, the stat against itself for each position. A dot's the most consistent, which, I meant to look that up when I was talking about something else. Like, how did Diggs A dot do this year? Because the idea he was going to be good was out there, but it was because he was going to be working so much further down the field. And I'm not sure he did. Josh Allen likes to throw downfield, therefore. I mean, Diggs had a lower A dot this year than last year. Can you really take a victory lap on something when it happens, but in an entirely different way than you were explaining? There's so much fuzziness in victory lapping on Twitter. Stefan Diggs was a top 12 wide receiver and was amazing this year, top 5, I think. But an entirely different way than I explained. So my entire process that got me to that answer was incorrect, but I hit. I'm not sure that's true. I don't even see a bit. Okay, appreciate it. Stefan Diggs' A dot was still consistent with his career. 10.84 is his average. 10.65 including 2020. I don't think anyone who got it right got it right. Weirdly. He's wide receiver 3 this year in both points per game and position. So. Just got all the volume without an Adam Thielen on the team, basically. 29% target share versus 22%. Mm-hmm. The last time he had an opportunity to score north of 20%, he was a top 12 wide receiver. Josh Allen, I don't know Josh Allen was the reason. I think Stefan Diggs is the reason, and Cole Beasley and John and Brown are the reason for Josh Allen. I do not think Josh Allen was the reason for Stefan Diggs. That's a very different thing. Top 12 points per game, not overall, interestingly. Oh, no. 2018. He was both. It was probably when Thielen was injured, right? That should have been how I got to that answer. Now I think about it. That's how I could have captured Stephon Diggs 2021, 2020. Oh no, Anthem played that year too. So no, fuck that. I mean, he was a top 12 and had an opportunity shares north of 20%. How sticky is that? Oh look, I can answer that. Opportunity share for wide receiver is about 28.28, which is great. It's less than ADOT's, less than target share or expected points per game, but 28 is not bad in terms of explaining wide receiver volume. I mean, it's about as good as quarterback points per game. For context in the variation. It's neat. I like it. Peter, I gotta go. The wife is tired of us nerding out. I imagine mine is too, man. That's why I hide far away in the basement. I really appreciate you hanging out, though, dude. I'm gonna get out of here too soon because I'm tired. My voice is dying, and it looks like I've answered most things that people are interested in talking about. I mean, I hate to leave Juju drunk and everything, but I'm out of coffee, so. Oh, let's go check out Twitter first. Bruce retweeted us, but I have not seen him in the chat, so you know. Eh. Cam Akers or Allen Robinson? In what situation, man? I'm not opening up private DMs on stream. Get out of here. Chris is all about Jalen Hurts, I see. Hey, my daughter is on Twitter, apparently. Oh, no, it's just Big Trevor. Oh. Yeah, my daughter loves wolves. No, that's right. I'll ask him to see if I can talk to him about Terry, since someone mentioned him in here. Someone mentioned Ray is knowing about him. Riley Ridley says he misses you. Oh, I appreciate that. I missed him too. Like, I missed him complete. I didn't see. Was he playing? I missed it. Get it? Get it, Riley? I missed it. Appreciate you turning up, bud. Late to the party, but I like it. Fair. What's the one thing you wish you knew about Dynasty before you started playing? Here's what I said. Don't adjust too much for age. Dynasty is about how well you can turn over your roster year to year to stay dominant, not about how well you can draft a team to last without turnover. I don't know if that makes sense to anyone else, but that was what I said. You don't draft Allen Robinson young so he stays on your team forever. You draft Allen Robinson young because he's going to keep having value for a longer period of time and be pretty good, so you can trade him, or if you need to, you can capitalize on that value. That's essentially what I'm saying. It's not because he's going to stay on your roster and win you every year. It's kind of what I mean. Jalen Waddle. Who? Is that the Henry Ruggs of this class? Jalen Waddle plays for Alabama. Oh, crap. Plays for Alabama. Never broken out. It's got a 2.7 hit rate based on his breakout ages. Oh, that's it, isn't it? 14% dominator. Yeah, he can play in whatever game he likes. I don't care. Oh, that's bad. Yeah, if that's the thing, I'm not a fan of Jalen Waddle. Just to let you all know, Riley, is Jalen Waddle your favorite player ever? I've got a feeling this is going to be a thing. All right. All right, I'm getting out of here. I'm tired. I want more coffee. I have a bunch more work to do. I can't be hanging out with you guys having fun all day, all night. So appreciate it. Appreciate you checking out. I am going to start making more YouTube videos instead of just streaming. Wow, my phone is scratched up all the hell. So I'm going to do at least a video looking through the NFL database, what's in there, type of things. I imagine people might find useful about it, and also the market share database. But I got to finish that thing first, so that's what I'm working on next. I'm hooking up combine data to prospect data. When I have that done, I will most be ready to release it to the world. So, that's what I'm working on. If anyone wants to see it, it's already on my Patreon, at least, as it is. And, or hit me up with any questions you have anytime, any place on Twitter at Pahowdy. Really appreciate it, guys. See you again here on these Twitch streets and hopefully some YouTube videos to come. Appreciate it, guys. Bye. I'm out of here. I'm going home. I'm going home. Go to your home. See you later.